Hello, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. I wanted to talk about something that I'm seeing coming up in my session work and with my students over and over again these last couple of days as the tension rises on the planet and more information comes up for reflection and also is revealed, right? Because we're in a time of revelation. So a lot of information is going to come up, and then it's going to either, validate what we already know or put us into another mindset, which could trigger us in a way of anger and frustration. And I feel like that's going to be a majority of the planet feeling the anger and the frustration because we have entered the age of Aquarius. Not fully, that'll be happening next year in 2024. But right now we are dabbling into it or touching into it. And Aquarius is mental. It's the head area. So this is about information. And so we are kind of coming to the end of the COVID story and are going to see a lot of stuff coming to light as we move through March. And some of that information might be very challenging or difficult for some to take in. And so the energies that we are playing in via these light frequencies coming in are incredibly high right now, which is already provoking the physical body and creating a lot of discomfort for a lot of people. But you have to remember we are in an expansion of consciousness, especially with the age of Aquarius, which is all mental. So with these solar winds, solar frequencies, we're seeing a lot of expansion of consciousness, and that is creating opportunities for migraines and headaches, nausea, vomiting, dizziness, especially where the field is not aligned and may not be rotating as quickly as the Earth's field is. Okay, so if our field is not spinning at the same rate that Gaia's field is spinning, our body is going to be trying to catch up. That's when we find we're feeling dizzy or we're feeling nauseous, when everything is trying to level up and match the frequencies on the Earth that we are all living in. So these frequencies, of course, are affecting everyone, right across the globe. And so as this information comes up and the COVID story starts to come to an end as we head through March, it's going to trigger people and it's going to push buttons and it's going to make for some very challenging situations for some, whether that's you or that's me or anyone else. It doesn't have to be, right? And I guess that's why I wanted to come on and share this, because the other day I had a really high level conversation with one of my younger mentees, and he's extremely bright, extremely sharp, operates from the perspective of 5D and really understands why he's here. He's here to offer the frequency of love, helping to transmute distortion, and in his effort to want to be of service. And he's young, he's only 21, right? But he gets why he's here, and it's amazing to be able to work with somebody like that at that age. And so we were having a conversation yesterday, and we were talking about a challenging conversation he had, or a challenging, I don't know if it was a text or a phone call or something, but somebody had sent something to him that was, a little mean. And so right away he felt like he went into reaction of it, right? And sometimes when we go into a reactionary state of being, we're not. In our consciousness, we drop into a third dimensional state and we're operating from 3D, which means that we want to go right back into blame and shoot something back and counterattack, right? That's 3D. And so he was feeling quite frustrated by it. So we talked about it. So I gave him some support, and I want to offer that here because he found it to be very, very useful. So what I had explained to him was that we have been trained to use our body for our thinking vehicle, right? So the body is really the vehicle that drives the bus when it comes to our thoughts. And we have gotten away from using our mind as our thinking vehicle because the body has taken over and automatically goes into reactionary mode. It's just the way that we've trained ourselves. This has been happening since birth. It's what's set up in the field in this 3D matrix, and it's how we've come in to play this game, right? To forget ourselves, which is where the veil is starting to thin, so we can now remember and remain conscious more than not, and remain in the higher states more than dipping into 3D. And so in this state of being where our body goes into reaction mode, it does so because it draws on the memory of an emotion that we had that might be similar to the event that's taking place in that moment, right? So let's say we receive a text or a call or something that is not nice and it's aimed at us, and it provokes us into anger or frustration, and it makes us feel like we want to react. Then that encounter that we're having is actually making us call up an emotion that we have that was stored in our field that mirrors a situation in which we use that emotion in something of the past. So the emotion is a thought of the past, and we're bringing that emotion forward into the now to kind of be the reactionary catalyst for what we're receiving from this person, which is the slight or comment that is unkind, right? And so in this particular moment, we have an opportunity to stop ourselves from going into anger, frustration, resentment, rebuttal, right? Where we feel like we have to say something back. And so what I suggested to him was, in the moment that we receive a text or a phone call or whatever from somebody else that is lashing out at us, that's unkind, right? Instead of going into reactionary mode, take a moment to stop, center yourself. If you have to, close your eyes so that you come out of your head, right? Because when our eyes are open, we're in our ego 99% of the time. So close your eyes, take a second, center yourself, and drop yourself down into your heart space. And then I want you to think about this. So every single person that we encounter in our reality, every person, it doesn't matter who they are, that person is there for some kind of experience that we're meant to have. They're meant to have it through us. We're meant to have it through them. And we're coming together with them to have an experience, okay? And that in the having of the experience, that experience is a catalyst for shift if we allow it to be. It's a catalyst for change for ourselves if we allow it to be. And in that moment that we're having that exchange, our awareness needs to be on the fact that the exchange that we're having is not for anybody else's benefit except for ours. And in that moment that we're having that exchange, the awareness held to it could offer us an opportunity to transmute the distortion of it if we can prevent ourselves from going into a reactionary state of being and instead come into a responsive state of being, which means that we are now no longer thinking or operating or reacting through the emotions of our body, but we are now operating and thinking from the mental, emotional state of our head, right? And our head does a better job with that because that's what the head is for. That's why the brain is in the head and it's not in the body. And so one of the most important things for us to do first is to diffuse the emotion that we're feeling to it. So what I offered him was, in the exchange, have the awareness that this is happening for you, not to you. It's happening for you because you're supposed to experience something from this, okay? And in that moment, as you're sitting with what is taking place, I want you to think about the person that is sending you the negative comment or whatever it is that the exchange held, and think about what might they be going through in that moment. What might be they feeling within themselves? What could have possibly taken place in their reality, in their experience of being them, in their day, that might have caused them to lash out in the way that they did? Okay. And so if you look at that, you can look at them in the way of a reflection, right? They're reflecting something back at you. And so if you look at it as a reflection, maybe it's a reflection where you're not holding yourself high enough, or you're not perceiving yourself as good enough, or not valued enough, right? This is very common. And so, or maybe they are projecting something in an angry nature and it's coming toward you because you're holding some anger somewhere that you have not resolved within yourself and you're not in a state of peace. Okay. Everything that comes our way, regardless of where it comes from, is a direct response to our vibration. Things are attracted to us, people, places, and things are attracted to us based on the vibration that we are resonating at, right? We can look at the law of one, we can look at the law of vibration, the law of resonance, the law of cause and effect, the law of attraction. We could look at all of those universal laws and we could see that through all of it, the common denominator is basically whatever it is that we're vibrating at is what we're going to be attracting to us, right? So my suggestion was, instead of going into a reaction state of being, instead close your eyes, take a breath, and sit within yourself for a second. First asking yourself, does what I receive from that person warrant a response? And I'm going to tell you, most of the time, it doesn't. Most of the time, whatever is sent our way, because the other person is hurting. And if you understand, when someone is hurt, all they want to do is feel better. And sometimes, not in all cases, but sometimes someone who is hurt is going to hurt somebody else because they're hurt. They don't know how to deflect their own emotions. They don't know how to deflect their own anger. And so they're going to project it onto somebody else. Okay. A lot of times this happens when we can't take responsibility for what is taking place within us. So if someone is having trouble taking responsibility for their own shortcoming in some way, shape, or form, then it might cause them to want to project those shortcomings onto someone else. Okay. So always, it's so important for us to maintain our own clarity on what is taking place, on what is being offered to us in the exchange, no matter what that is, because it's always an exchange for our benefit, right? At the end of the day, and you've heard me say this many, many times in my other videos, it is about us. We are here, yes, as a collective, right? As a collective group, but we are here individually playing our own game, individually as a soul in this human physical body, having an experience. But the game here is for us to ascend our consciousness. So everything that presents for us is an opportunity for us to ascend our consciousness, us to raise our vibration, us to take ourselves to the next level. And how we are choosing to do that is what is important. Okay. If you think about it from that perspective and see that it is all about you and how you are working with the tools that you have available to you, how you're working with your higher consciousness, with your guides, your quantum field, to accelerate and ascend your state of consciousness, then you will start to see things in your life in a very, very different way, because it's not about them. And that situation that came to you to provoke you is not meant to put you into anger, and not meant to get you then to carry that anger and hold that anger and create the anger residual blockage in your body and become sick from it, right? It's not about that. It's about, how can I look at what is presenting and then offer a solution to it? Okay. And much of the time, it doesn't even require a conversation. It just requires that we sit within it and transmute it from the highest place within us. Okay. So I wanted to offer that to you as an opportunity here, because we are going to be seeing a lot of anger, a lot of sadness, grief, depression, anxiety through the collective as these weeks roll by. And if we are prepared and already aware of how we can do a better job holding a higher timeline so that we can transmute the distortion of the reality that is presenting, and we could see it very clearly as an opportunity via the way that we designed this experience in this incarnation, then we could say, okay, I'm asking this person to come in and deliver this information in this way so that I could shift myself and be better at transmuting the distortion so that I don't go into reaction and I have a better experience in my reality, because each time I can transmute the distortion and not react to it, I find myself going deeper into divine neutrality. And when we hold a placement of divine neutrality, then we can see everything through the eyes of love and truly understand and realize that nobody is doing anything to us. It's all happening for us, because the more we hold space, the deeper we go into divine neutrality, the higher we're ascending our consciousness. And so the faster we're shifting our reality and our timelines so that our experience of being us can be even more amazing than it already is. Okay. So I hope this information helped you. I'm looking forward to connecting with you again real soon. If you want to go deeper and you want more connection, I would love to have you join my Ascension Alchemy Mastery School. We are going to be undergoing an exciting change coming into March. I will be announcing that, and we will be moving away from the ascension part and stepping more into the metaphysics of healing and intuition and telepathy, energy, and all kinds of amazing stuff, working with our innate ability to heal ourselves, as well as connecting more deeply into our higher selves and our higher consciousness, our future selves. There's so much coming our way. So we're about to expand into uncharted territory, and it's going to be super exciting. So please watch for those details. Those of you that are interested, the details will be below for my Ascension School. And I look forward to connecting with all of you again real soon. Know that I love you so very much. Enjoy whatever it is that you're doing. Have an amazing rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye. I love you so much.